BTF.
Yes.
What's up, brother?
How you doing,
are
man? Good. Good to see you,
man. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me on.
Dude, we're very excited, man. So, BTF, Freddy Castillo, current badass in purple belt, jiu-jitsu.
Thank you.
About to get promoted to brown belt. But you're also fighting for the belt at Rise of the Prospects.
Yes.
Right? When is that fight?
September 8th at the Rialto.
At the Rialto, yeah.
It's
That's going to be interesting, man. Is there any talk where the ring is going to be? Is it...
No, not yet. They do like allow you, I don't know, like the week before or a couple of days before to kind of go check out the event.
Okay.
But I mean, you know, Rise is such a good company, man. They've thrown on, this is their 5th one, you know, so I'm sure they'll set it up like the best way they know how.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I've been to Rialto multiple times for concerts. I was there to see Henry Rollins, which was like a weird, super weird setting because I've been there for heavy metal concerts. And next thing you know, we walk in and it's candle lit and there's chairs everywhere, and all of a sudden it's like super respectable place.
Yeah. Well, it's like a historic type of building, right?
It is, and they're redoing it. But it's so weird to see how the same building could take on so many different shapes.
Yeah,
you know? From comedians to spoken word to some of the nastiest heavy metal you could possibly imagine. It's all been there, you know. It's all, and then you have Maris Yahoo, you know, singing songs about like love and world, and you know, and open your third eye and all sorts of stuff. And so are you fighting? So this September 8th. Okay, so you're still fighting at purple.
It'll be my last one technically. Yeah.
And you're fighting for the belt.
Yes.
Where are you fighting?
What do you mean? Where? Or who?
No, who?
This bro named Ryan. He's gonna be out of Phoenix BJJ.
Yeah.
Supposed to be pretty good. You know what I mean? So
it's gonna be a scrap.
It's gonna be a scrap, man. You know what I mean?
Scrap,
I'm ready to bring it. You know. Yeah. So I'm excited, bro. It's gonna be my first title match ever. I already got a spot on my garage wall where I'm visualizing that belt. You know what I mean? Because I see myself walking out with it. You know.
So the fight is September 3rd. And 8th. I'm sorry, September 8th. And you're already visualizing the spot on the wall for that.
Yeah, man, you have to.
Yeah,
you have to.
How does all right? So talk to me about your visualization. Man. How does that work? How far back do you start already doing some sort of work in visualizing the results, how your match is going to go, and what does that look like once you get into the tournament itself?
So as soon as I accept the fight is when I start visualizing how I want to approach it. Mm-hmm. And what I've kind of really noticed in the past is if when you visualize something, you tend to work even harder for it. Mm-hmm. You know, every morning I try to do a little bit of yoga in the morning, a little bit of stretching, a little bit of kettlebells, just anything. You know what I mean? Just to kind of get my blood going. Mm-hmm. And so I'm in the garage 6 a.m., 5:30 sometimes. Everybody's still asleep. My dogs are still asleep. And you know, when I'm doing my yoga, it's almost like a state of meditation for me. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I get to really think, and I really get to visualize what is it that I want. And from the days that I accept fights, I'm visualizing that I win. I'm not visualizing how, I'm not visualizing who I'm going up against. I'm just visualizing at the very end, having my hand up in the air and having that belt around my waist and looking down at all my Paragon family, everybody there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man. I mean, I'm so excited.
So you visualize the result. Do you visualize any part of the fight at all then, or you just strictly focus on the result?
Well, I try not to focus too much on visualizing like step by step of what's going to happen during the fight, because the fact of the matter is I don't know this guy's style. I know my style, but I know that I'm going to turn it into a scrap. And the fact is, I believe in my jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? And it can go. It's kind of hard to visualize exactly what you're going to do if you've never really fought this person or even know anything about that person. Mm-hmm. So I really just try to focus on my conditioning, my technique, and let my muscle memory take care of the rest.
Nice. When you is there any point where the nerves of, okay, this is a super fight, all eyes are on me? Is there any point where it gets to you, and when that monster starts getting closer and closer to you, how do you build up the wall? How do you shut that voice down?
So I embrace it.
You embrace it.
You know, I just kind of tell myself, like, why is it that this is weighing so much on me? Why am I getting so nervous? And the fact is because I'm excited for it. I want it. You know what I mean? Right. And before I used to try to block it out, but I would spend so much time trying to block it out. So much energy. So much focus trying to block that out, trying to calm your heart instead of just embracing the chaos.
Right.
And it would really get in the way of how I would actually perform, you know? Because, again, I spent weeks or days trying to block this out instead of just embracing the feelings, embracing, the moment, and just living in it.
Wow. Okay. Dude, that's phenomenal, man, because we've been backstage in a couple of different super fights, and we've been together in, like, some tournaments. And it's always awesome to me, like, to see how calm you are right before you fight. And then there was a little incident that in the last one where they didn't know I spoke Spanish, so they're talking about so they were talking about I think the coach told the fighter, they said be careful with this half guard or something like that, and I think they were making plans about how to stay away from your half guard and stuff. So I kind of like texted to you. I was like, hey, they're talking about your half guard.
I remember that.
Yeah, just kind of like keep that in mind. And I think the text said, hey, they're worried about your half guard. And your response, you grab my phone and you go, and you showed it back to me. It just simply said, they should. Dude, but that's confidence, man. That's a confidence you need to have, to walk up to a fight and just embrace it and just be able to just kind of welcome every possible challenge that could come from a super fight.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And that confidence, man, it's not really, you don't want to like think of that confidence as being like overconfident.
Right.
I was confident because I trained so hard.
Right.
I was on the mats every day, plus my morning exercises. Like, there was no way I was gonna lose unless this guy truly beat me. And if that happened, respect.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely. Respect. Yeah. To me, there was always I think I got this mindset from like an early MMA. From an early MMA perspective, because there wasn't a lot of jiu-jitsu happening, so there was more MMA psychology being put out there, right? Because the explosion of the UFC and stuff. But I think it came from like Marcus Berry, man, when they were talking about the fight. And like you said, it could go either way. This guy could show up and dominate the fight or whatever it is, but we only have control over our performance. We have control as fighters. We only have control of how well we trained,
right?
How well we prepare for this, how serious we took it, how hard we worked. And at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, I'm going to give it my best.
Right.
I have no control of what this guy's going to do.
Exactly.
However, to beat me, my opponent will have to pay a heavy price.
Exactly.
And that's the price of defeating me.
Exactly.
Right.
And you say that I look really calm, and I try to seem calm and I try to be calm.
Right.
But the fact is, dude, I'm a duck on water.
Everybody. If you say you're not nervous, you're full of it.
Yeah.
You're full of it. Man. Everybody's nervous. Is how you deal with it, what you do with it, how you use it. Are you going to allow the nerves to affect your performance?
Right.
Or are you going to use it to fuel your performance?
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing comes from your training. So, you could post all day on Instagram and Facebook, oh, I'm running the mountains, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But when it comes to that fight day, it's just you in there. So all these eyes around you that you've lied to, there's no lying to yourself, because that's going to show in the ring.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Dude, which is funny, brings me to another point, man. Like the early days of social media, people used to get like really excited about, they wanted to post just about everything they did, every like 5 minutes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that people have figured out what their voice is like in social media. So, so they've dialed it back a little bit. But I've always thought, man, it was funny that I had this one friend that he was always posting like kettlebell workout, hard squats, 3-mile run.
Yeah.
But then there was he looked like he could just, like, if you painted him white, he looked like the little like the doughboy.
The doughboy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, if you really did 1/3 of everything you post, even if you ate bad, you would look better than you look right now. So, but it's true, man. It's like people create a persona on social media,
right? Whether
they're trying to fool themselves or fool others. There's sometimes a disparity between who they are on social media and who they are in real life.
Right. But here's the thing, though. Maybe that guy actually did do those things, but he did one set of it, as opposed to doing 3 to 4 sets to actually get
really
the burn.
Push yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how did you get started in jiu-jitsu?
So this is a cool story, man. So I was I was 16 or 17-ish. I was working at EG's, and my cousin Phillip Aguilar, you obviously know him. He happened one day. He came to the drive-thru, and I was working the drive-thru window, and he came through one day, and he were just kind of small talking. You have to keep the line moving, but he was just small talking. He was just like, "Hey man, come try jiu-jitsu," and he hands me a jiu-jitsu card. And again, I was like 16 or 17, right? So I get the card, put it in my wallet, whatnot, and I just kind of forgot about it, right? Because in that period of my life, I thought the bigger the better. Like the more muscle you have,
you were bigger back in the day too, right?
185, bro.
185. That's so crazy.
Yeah, solid, dude. I was like lifting every day for like 3 hours. You know what I mean? So like I said, I thought the bigger the better. And it wasn't up until when I was 20, 21, and I happened to get a new wallet, right? So I was going through all my cards.
So this card sat, or this invitation just sat in your wallet for 4 years.
4 years, maybe 5.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, man. And so, I was cleaning out my wallet, and I was going through all my cards and stuff. I'm like, okay, what's important? What don't I use? And stuff like that. The last one was this card.
Right.
And I was like, man, I wonder if this place is still open. Gave him a call, and he was like, yeah, here's our hours. Come on down. And the following Monday, yeah, I remember this day. It was March 1st, 2010. And that Monday, I showed up and never left.
Yeah.
Never left, man. But it was cool though, because when I actually got there, you guys were like running around in a circle. I saw Phillip there. I saw you there. I saw Brenda. She was a blue belt, I think, at the time.
No, she was a white belt.
Oh, she was a white belt at the time. You were a brown belt. And yeah, man, I was just like, I was watching you guys do your thing, and I'm like, I gotta try this.
Right.
Yeah.
So coming from the perspective, like you said, the bigger the better, which is something that plagues the youth, right? The young man.
Yeah.
So like you're coming in from being a kid to, I have to build my confidence, I have to build my body. Everybody wants to pack on the muscles, right?
Yeah, everybody wants to look good.
Everybody wants to look good.
Yeah.
But then if you're in the right path, you end up running into something like jiu-jitsu, and it completely bursts your bubble, where you're like,
oh, dude,
this size that I've worked so hard to put on doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
So it was my first role. Do you remember K1?
Yeah.
K1, dude. K1. It was probably like a 5-minute match, and he probably lit me up, dude. Like he tapped me out like 20 times. You know what I mean?
That is so crazy.
And I had like 50 pounds over him of muscle. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I feel like I was naturally athletic, because I just been doing sports my whole life. So it was just such an eye opener. I was just like, man, Did
it seem like a superhero to you?
Everybody seemed like a superhero.
Right.
I was like, they all got so much powers.
Yeah. How are they doing this?
How are they doing this? Yeah, but you never thought
that
like,
existed. That skill existed.
Yeah. Like bend the arm, and they can't curl you.
Yeah.
Like they can't punch you if you tie up their legs, or you have them in full guard.
Right.
It's just it was humbling.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was
I think like the craziest experience that happens, and I've done it, and it's never been out of like an attempt showing off, but there's a group of people rolling, right, and you as a higher belt, you're rolling with that lower belt, and you end up looking over and you start coaching somebody as you're fighting somebody. And when that happened to me, I was rolling with my coach at the time, and I was giving him my all, man. I was a white belt. I'd been training for like, maybe like a couple of weeks or whatever. But I was living every ounce of energy and whatever I could do on that mat. Short of like biting him. I was giving him everything. And then all of a sudden he looks up and he starts coaching somebody.
As he's rolling with
me.
Oh my God.
And I was like, how do you get to that level? You know what I mean? And it's so funny because you're not doing it out of like, watch how little you are, compared to my skill. But you're just doing it out of like, you're rolling and I'm getting you to do something.
Yeah.
But then I see something over there, and then I'll look up, and then I was like, hey, bump over there. And then you hear that they're like, like we did it last Saturday. One of the guys was like, fuck, man, what is that like to be able to be fighting somebody and still coach like 2 other people? You know what I mean? But when it first happens to you, man, you're like, they're superheroes, man. People don't understand the level of skill that comes behind those jiu-jitsu training, man.
Dude, and the fact that at the end of that match, I was like, like my heart was racing, I was breathing, and the bro was like, yeah, good job.
Yeah, thanks.
On to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get a
challenge.
Let me get a challenge.
Yeah, man. It was just one of those things where it was like I should have been doing this my whole life, but it happened at the right moment for me.
It happened at the right moment.
Happened at the right moment.
100%. So then you trained So you've been training since when? 2010.
2010.
2010. How long before your first competition?
6 months.
6 months. For me too.
6 months.
For me too.
Yeah.
6 months.
So my first month was just straight like
getting your ass beat.
Yeah, getting my ass beat. And honestly, the whole 6 months was getting your ass beat. You know what I mean? But
yeah, but there's a point. There's always a point. Like for me, was 2 months, 2.5 months, where I'm fighting with somebody, and then all of a sudden, just like the Matrix, all of a sudden I can see everything stops, and I can see their hips turning.
Yeah.
For the armbar, and then you're going for an armbar.
Yeah.
I recognize it now.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a little moments like that within those 6 months where all of a sudden things start clicking, you start recognizing.
Or you get your first submission on another white belt,
Woo!
and then and then all of a sudden you're just like, I have the power.
Right.
You know, like yes, take the sword out. I got this. No, but it was cool, man, because I kind of
just made a He-Man reference and you didn't even fucking know it. Fucking millennials.
Sorry. No, but it was cool though. I really feel like in that first month, the schools unintentionally try to weed people out. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like
I think it was just the way they were set up back then. Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah. It was kind of like, you know what? Beat them up, show them afterwards. Mm-hmm. If they keep coming back after a month, they're in. Then let's start training and stuff. Yeah. So, but
it's like after a month, they were like, "Oh shit, you're still here. What's your name again?"
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly,
like,
yeah.
I've been here for a month, Manny.
Yeah, I've been here every day, bro. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, cool, but this is the first time seeing you.
Right.
Actually seeing you.
Paying attention to you. Yeah. You know, they purposely weeded people out. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you weren't willing to take the beatings, you had no business training.
Yeah. And you know
what? Archaic mindset though, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It was just an awakening, dude. It was, man. But my first tournament, I won my first match and then lost my second.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But it got my hand raised once. So that's all I needed, and that's what kept me going. Right? Not a year later, excuse me. 2-3 more months later, went to Vegas for I forgot the name of it, but
isn't that like the UAE?
It was like the Abu Dhabi Pro Trials or something like that. Yeah, it wasn't the UAE at the time.
Okay.
It was like the Abu Dhabi Pro Trials or something like that. And as a white belt, I got gold.
It's crazy, man.
And from that moment on, I was hooked before, you know what I mean? But from that moment on, I was even more motivated. Validation.
I'm doing things right.
All your hard work is paying off. Right. Dude, yeah, man. Crazy, it was an amazing time, dude. It was.
How many matches did you have in the UAE?
3.
No, this is in Vegas.
Submitted everybody.
This is in Vegas, and you're still a white belt?
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, did you feel... So, for me, I was a blue belt the first time I went to the pants. And it was completely surreal to walk in, and the first person I see is Josh Burnett. And then you're like, fuck, man, we're not even the same species of human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This dude is like, he was a giant of a man, followed by like 20 little Japanese people that he was training in jiu-jitsu. And then you're walking around, and then there it is, Rickson Gracie, you know? And
you saw my pants?
Dude, I saw my pants. My first pants, he was coaching Kron.
Damn.
He was coaching Kron, and I see Rickson Gracie. And I'm blinking, and I don't know what to say. And but there was a line of people, dude, and everybody was gracious enough to know what a moment it was for everybody. So everybody was shaking his hand, taking the picture, telling him how much he loved them, and then moving on. It was like, dude, I know how cool this is, and I want to be. There was an understanding of like, dude, how often you get to see Rickson Gracie, you know?
Right.
And dude, and he got to that moment, and I probably blabbered the same thing that everybody was. It was like, hey, it's an honor to meet you. You changed my life. I saw your documentary of Choke, you know.
Oh yeah.
And this is why I'm doing this. And he smiled. That the only time he turned the back on the public is when his son was fighting, and it's almost like he knew like what a duty he had.
Yeah.
You know, to jiu-jitsu, to the community, like being the ambassador, right? Because as soon as the match was over, he would turn back around and be like, all right, good, you were saying.
Oh,
you know,
cool.
And it was just more the wave of people, you know. But to me, did you have an experience like that where you walked in and all of a sudden there's this jiu-jitsu personality standing in front of you, and you're like,
So, honestly, man, I didn't compete until I was in purple belt at the Pans, like my first legit really big tournament. Well, I guess besides Vegas.
Yeah.
But at the time, my idol was Andre Goval and Marcelo Garcia. First book I ever got was Marcelo's book.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever book it was. I read that thing top to bottom, right? Still didn't get it. But I had YouTubed. I saw Andre Goval's.
I dare you. Learning from YouTube.
Yeah, I know, right? Learning from YouTube.
Learning from YouTube.
Yeah. What kind of person are you? No. So I saw Andre Goval's match when he fought that black belt karate guy who had entered in a tournament.
The fat guy.
Yeah.
Where he just dances
where
on
he just dances all
over.
over.
And he's like doing all this stuff, like jumping on his back
Dude,
and stuff like
so
that.
I saw that, bro, and I was like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? I want to be like him. You know? From that moment forward, he was like all of my saved videos. Like everything I was doing, I was trying to mimic his style.
So you hadn't seen Arte Suave?
No.
Dude, so on our way to Pans, the guy that drove us up there, he had the DVD for Arte Suave, and for 8 hours, that thing was just on replay, and it's Andrew Galvao as maybe like a brand new black belt, no, maybe even a brown belt.
Really?
In his academy in Brazil.
Is it a documentary or is it a movie?
It's a documentary. It has a bunch of people. It's called Arte Suave. For those of you guys that want to look it up, I'm sure it's on YouTube now. But back then everything was VHS or CD, you know, or DVD rather. But it was him, and he shows like a little bit of like the class, the technique and stuff like that. And then he goes through a series of drills that he performs at the end of class to just kind of like burn his lungs out a little bit.
His like end of warm up drills, like his warm up at the end drills, where he's like crawling like almost like a monkey and then does like a little backflip.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I did see that. I did see
you
that.
Saw that.
Yeah.
But that thing was in replay for 8 hours as we're driving, you know, towards California.
Oh, dude,
so,
that's cool, man.
So yeah, dude. But it was an eye opener, man. Like, fuck, man, I gotta work harder. Like, I gotta keep working hard. It must have been. I think I must have been like a blue belt or purple belt still, you know. Like, but you're watching. That's the level of jiu-jitsu that you want to get to.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
it was inspirational to watch something like that, you know.
So did you meet Andre?
So you were there.
Is that? Oh, that's the one.
That was the first time I ever met him. So we'll just fast forward real quick.
You have a style, dude. It's gotta
be. So we'll just fast forward. So my first time competing at Pans was.
Well, hold up. Seriously, our time together there was your first time at Pans?
Yeah.
That is so crazy, man.
Yeah,
you should have been doing it way before that.
At the time, the school that I was at, they were more focused on like the state and locals,
right?
Than kind of telling you guys to go towards the national level ones. You know what I mean? Like
international, dude. That's international.
International, yeah.
International.
Yeah, and the Vegas one, it was just because for one, it's Vegas, and for two, like a bunch of my buddies were like, hey, let's go try this. Let's step away from the locals and go give this a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how that one came about.
Right.
But for the most part, the academy at the time was focused on the state level tournaments, which are the GD when those pretty much started, right? Up in Phoenix. So yeah, man, the first time I went to Pans was with you.
So crazy, man.
And that was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
it was 2 years ago.
I firmly believe that there's tournaments. So I think as a coach and also like as understanding as a competitor, there is a process that you have to go through to grow as a competitor. You have to know how to use your tournaments, man. You know, the GD tournaments are by far one of the most. If you're looking for hard competition and the tournament that is well run, there's no better than that, right?
And only getting better now.
Oh God.
Only getting better now.
So this is what's crazy about it, man. Great fucking guy. I'm not gonna mention his name. It's brown belt here out of Tucson. This guy goes and wins Pans, goes back to Phoenix, and a few months later competes over there, and loses. Gets his butt kicked. We all do, man. So it's not, when we say got his ass kicked, it's a terminology we all use.
Right.
It's like, hey, I got my ass kicked, you know. Yeah. So it's not like a derogatory comment towards him, but he loses, right? And I go make fun of him because I know him. I goes like, what? You win Pans, but you can't win state? And he's like, I know. But that's a testament to the level of guys that are competing in Arizona, man. You know.
Oh, dude.
But you have to know how to start, man. You know, like for us, when we opened up our academy, there was a group of guys that were kind of like, a little bit unsure about themselves, and dude, we started in Naga. To be honest, we started in Naga, man. That's for a brand new academy with guys that were a little bit unsure about themselves. Went through their entire high school life without ever getting into a fight or doing wrestling. You know what I mean? Oh wow! So now they're doing jiu-jitsu as young adults. So you have to start them. So we started them in Naga. They got their feet wet. They're like, okay, and then started throwing them. Okay, we went from Naga to GD, and then they're doing good at GD, and then we went to nationals.
Okay.
And then went to nationals, and we come back with everybody medaled.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I competed alongside with them, but everybody medaled. We come back, and from there it was like, okay, you grew this group of students right here. You guys, yes, you should stay busy in competition, but that's your goal. The
international tournaments.
Now you know where you belong.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you know where you belong. You have no business competing at Naga, or you have no business doing more than 1 or 2 GD tournaments a year. It should be Worlds, it should be Pants, it should be this, and it should be Super Fights. Much like you're doing right now.
Yeah.
That's, once you grow as a competitor, man, you need that, man. You need to be honest with yourself and just recognize your own skill.
Yeah, yeah, and that's smart of you, man, to start them at super basic tournament, go to intermediate. I don't even know if you can call it the state intermediate over here anymore, man, because it's just, there's legit world champions in Phoenix right now, in Tucson right now, and I mean, you end up fighting them when you go up there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like,
you see him in the bracket.
Yeah, you see him in the bracket, you're just like, fuck this guy, but all right, cool,
Again.
let's do it. Hell yeah.
No, it was funny, man. I had a training partner. Both of us went to compete as brown belts, and there was a guy that was always fucking catching him in triangles in Phoenix. So everybody saves their money, throws their family in a car, drives all the way to Pants. Who's his first fight in Pants? The same guy.
Oh,
and
man.
Like, come on, man, let me fight somebody.
Did he get
else.
triangle?
He struggled, but I think he won.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, he won that one. I think he lost the next one, but yeah, at least he got over that hump in his mind, because this dude was just catching him in triangles left and right.
I mean, if you really think about the level of talent from when I started or you started in Arizona to where it's at now, I mean, look what happened in this UFC. Henry Cejudo, man. Yeah. Well, it's also like where the state of jiu-jitsu was back then. When I started, my coach was, for a short period of time after I started, he was a blue belt. Your coach?
Yeah, my first.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
And then boom, purple. But I got there as a blue. He was a blue belt when I started. But then again, it was like blue belt was the ruling demigod of the world back then. I remember reading an article, or there might have been one of those Pride Super Fights, like an interview backstage where they mentioned how Wanderlei Silva was a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And all of us went to practice the next day, and we're like, whoa, this gotta be such a badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where to now, blue belt is, okay, welcome to Jiu-Jitsu.
There's
you know
a flood of them.
It's so many of them. But back then, he was like, dude, you know how long he's had to have been training for like at least 2.5 years to get there. You know what I mean? Which seems so long for us, because we just started. Jiu-Jitsu was just starting in Tucson.
How many academies were in town when you started? Was that the only
2
one?
legitimate, 1 bullshit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 2 legitimate, 1 bullshit. And when I was in high school, I got taken to that bullshit one because my kickboxing coach knew that I wrestled, and he saw that I had good wrestling, had good kickboxing. So this is MMA. I was still in high school. I was like, 15, 16. So he takes me to this bullshit academy, and I speak like little to no English, right? And he has me spar with his guys, and then I sit down. I come out of practice, and there's a stack of magazines, and one of them, it's like a black bill magazine, and it has Hoist Gracie in the cover. I grabbed it, and I'm mesmerized by this, man. I'm like, fuck, man, this is amazing. I start going through the articles, and the head coach comes up to me, and he goes, "You like him?" And I understood what he said.
Of the Bullshit Academy.
Of the Bullshit Academy,
okay.
Yeah. And I look at the article, and I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do you think he can beat me?" And I so I look at him, and he's like this tall, but he's like this wide.
Yeah.
And I go, "Yeah." So then he proceeds to like laugh, and he starts telling me how he was like, I would let him put me in his guard, and I would just punch his face. And I was like, okay, And then he like walked away. He was like, "Oh, this kid doesn't know how to speak English." But I understood the nonsense that he just said.
Right.
Got it. No, but there was just 2 academies. That was it. 2 academies, and then that one that was more like your like your dirty MMA academy, you know.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And then little by little, just like this one opened up and this one opened up, and then I don't remember the big boom was like Undisputed Open. I think Undisputed. I'm getting my dates wrong, but I know Undisputed Open after that. It was a previous incarnation of Undisputed. I think it was Josh Hinger that was teaching at Undisputed.
Oh, really?
It was owned by a couple. I can't remember the names, but it was Josh Hinger who was the coach, and he used to teach, I think, from my understanding, just nogi and like a little bit of gi, but he was mainly nogi guy.
That was his style.
That was the style. And then the IFL, which was the it was this MMA company that kind of took it onto every state had a team, or city had a team, right? Yeah. So we had the Tucson Scorpions, and that was the
name of the jiu-jitsu school.
That was the name of the team, the Tucson Scorpions.
Tucson Scorpions.
So it recruited from every academy their best MMA fighters. So for our academy, there were when I was a student, we had Gabe. What's his name? Gabe. I'm sorry. I'm horrible with names. So Gabe was a brown belt that he went to them. He was fighting there. He was one of their fighters, and then Josh. Went to fight over there. Joey Rivera, who now owns Apex, he was part of that group. Yeah. And then it was just MMA fighters from every single school. It's not that they left their school, but it was a league, and it was very important that they trained together to make each other better.
Right. Makes sense.
And Rainy Martinez was their head coach, and one of the, I think he was like the conditioning coach, and Don Fry was supposed to be like their main coach.
Don Fry.
Yeah, and this it was like this shitty little academy on Grant, and that's where everybody trained.
Yeah.
And
so all the top guys
just kind of came together.
That's
so
awesome.
They moved away from training at Rincon High School to now they had a legitimate place where they could train. And then when that went away, Joey said, "I'm going to open up Tucson's first and only mixed martial arts academy," which is great. He did. Yeah. He put in the work. He developed himself as a legitimate mixed martial artist, and to his credit, opened up the first only MMA academy in Tucson. He wanted nothing to do with like gi. He wanted nothing to do with traditional jiu-jitsu. It's like, I want to train MMA fighters.
Nice.
But yeah, so that was the growth of jiu-jitsu, man, in Tucson back then. Yeah.
And so, and you and I, well, you were obviously there first, but we started at the same school.
Right. Yeah, we started at the same school.
Yeah.
But you started in 2010. Yeah. And like 2 weeks later, I left.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks later. Yeah. It was funny because I remember you said like 3 words to me. You said, "What's up, man?"
That was
pretty much it. It wasn't like, "What's your name? How you doing, bro? Welcome to the team." It was just, "What's up, man?" And then I was like, "Okay, what's up, bro?" You know?
Yeah.
You were. I don't know if I swear I think you were a brown belt at the time. I'm pretty sure you were a brown belt.
Brown. Yeah.
And then because I remember looking at your belt and I'm just like, "Fuck, he just spoke to me."
Beat up. That belt is beat up.
He spoke to me. He's a brown belt. Hell yeah, dude. Cool, man. All right.
Right.
At least he acknowledged me. You know what I mean? I'm just a little ass white belt. You know, whatever. But yeah, man. 2 weeks later, you guys were gone.
Yeah, man. It was crazy times. You know, because we left, and that's when we had to make a decision. Like, what am I gonna do? You know, am I done, or am I go train for somebody else, or do I pursue my vision of what jiu-jitsu should be like?
Yeah.
So I'm so glad and blessed that we were able to do the last one. You know, we opened up our own academy. Here we are. You know.
Yeah.
3 academies later. You know, with many blessings, many champions. Dude. Yeah, man. So, so you started jiu-jitsu, and then I think the next thing that is like very important to talk about, man, you were there for many years, but then there was a stunt in your growth, right? Yeah.
So I mean, out of respect, like I don't think we should like name any names or anything like that, because deep down, like everybody over there is like good at heart, you know what I'm saying? Like for sure, like we're all, but so here's kind of my story. We trained for 5 years over there. I basically went from white to purple belt. I was there every day. You know, we had a really solid team. It was kind of crazy, man, because 2 weeks after I showed up, like I knew nothing about jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? I barely knew how to like shrimp and do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? So when you guys left, there was like this big change in energy that you could kind of like feel.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, you know, the coach kind of gave a little speech about loyalty in a sense, and it was super weird, man, because you were kind of the black sheep. You know what I mean? Like you got painted this picture as like, you know, kind of like a person who abandoned the team and left. You know what I'm saying? So, and at the time I didn't really like think much of it because I didn't know anything of it. I kind of assumed it was, you know, like a money thing or something like that, or you just or you just wanted to start your own thing. I had no idea, right? But my cousin Phillip, you guys are best friends, and he went with you. So the person who got me into jiu-jitsu, when I show up 2 weeks later, you both leave, and there's Brenda. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I didn't think anything of it, you know. But as the years went on, you know, I trained. You know, I was there every day. Like I said, we had a solid team. I competed as much as I possibly could, all from white to blue belt. I rarely lost, and which was cool. It was absolutely cool. I get my purple belt, and it came to a point. I think it was maybe my second term. My first term I did pretty well, but then my second term, I don't know if you remember this, but there was like a shift in jiu-jitsu where Berimbolo came out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Berimbolo came out and a little bit fancier techniques, and I was getting caught with that stuff. Like some people would kind of come in from out of town, and you know, even a blue belt that's been doing Berimbolo since it was white belt would sweep me, and it was frustrating. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was super frustrating. And it wasn't up until a GD Jiu-Jitsu tournament where I went up against this guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's legit, right? Especially right now too. You know what I mean? But he was the guy that I beat when I was a white belt. Mm-hmm. Right? I beat him in a white belt at the Vegas tournament for the championship. That guy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was super cool, man. You kind of end up finding the same people at some point.
Right.
And caught me in a flying triangle. And I had no idea what the hell was happening, you know. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, that was kind of a point where I'm just like, okay, like the level of jiu-jitsu is growing like super fast,
and we're starting to get left behind.
I felt like we were like, okay, I'm not gonna speak for everybody. I felt like I was getting like left behind in a sense, and no matter how hard I trained, if I continued training the same thing without knowing how to defend this, at least, I was losing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And we talked about this off camera, and I'm gonna take lead on this. I think that one thing that is very important to understand is we were talking about loyalty, we were talking about teams, and we were talking about how to handle switching teams.
Yeah.
And for me as a head coach, there's definitely the right way of doing it, and then there's the wrong way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
But it all comes down to this very simple thing. If somebody's not happy with training with us, that's why we don't have contracts, you know? If you are not happy, I don't want you here. Mm-hmm. I don't want you here in a negative way of get out of my academy. But if you as a special and active competitor, all of a sudden you come to a block on the road where we're just not able to get you out of it, and in your mind you've decided that maybe training at this other academy with this other group of people with this other mindset or style of jiu-jitsu is going to help you, and you come to me and you express it that way, it's coaches, my mind as a competitor tells me that at least I have to try this. Go ahead, man. You know,
well, you know, and
go ahead. You need to go over there. And if it helps you and it gets you over that road and that's what speaks to you, then by all means stay over there, you know. If you get it and it gets you over that road, or it doesn't, and then you want to come back, open door. As long as it's handled like that,
yeah.
You know.
But, you know, at the time it didn't even cross my mind to like even look somewhere else, right? It didn't. It was more of like, hey, this is what's happening. Like, how can we learn this stuff? Like, how?
Right.
And you can't learn that type of game from somebody who doesn't really know it themselves. You know what I'm saying? Or practice it frequently.
Right.
Because we could practice like the semi basics of that particular move. Like, let's say Berimbolo, for example. We know you can hook the leg underneath and you put your other foot there, right? But what happens like if they start pushing on your foot, or if you can't curl them in?
If they go for an ankle,
I mean,
a toe hold.
There's so many variables, you know?
Right.
But I was so invested in this gym. I taught the kids class,
Right.
I was teaching the kids since I was blue belt. You know, I was 1,000% in it. You know, it never even occurred to me to even look anywhere else. But you know, unfortunately, at a certain point, I got hurt and I had to have knee surgery, and I had 2 surgeries actually. And
you had pretty serious knee.
Yeah,
surgery,
yeah, I got
right?
some pretty significant scars coming up here, man. But you know, it had to be done.
Right.
It had to be done. But I love jiu-jitsu so much. I had it in my head. I had the vision that I was coming back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's beautiful, man. So, so you ended up coming over. You ended up coming over to us, and it wasn't without struggle, because so I didn't know that. I didn't know that was your first pants, man.
Yeah.
But it wasn't without struggle. It wasn't like all of a sudden you know you switch academies and things start flourishing right away. It was like, you know, there was a plethora of techniques that we had to catch you up on, right? So so we did, and not only that, but like better way of doing certain things, things that were bad habits, things that you were already strong at and you were really good at.
Right.
Let's keep those. Let's try to change those different things. But you came over, and then it was like success, struggle, fucking rock bottom, then all of a sudden success, and it was like that. But then it got to the point where you're like, dude, maybe I'm not a competitor. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yo, dude, I'll never forget that day, man. It was one of those like, am I really made to continue doing this? You know.
Right.
But let me back up for a second. So before I even like considered switching over, I ended up you know, whatever, continue training and stuff like that. I ended up going to a family party, and it was one of our cousins' graduation parties, graduating from high school. And I happened to run into Phillip again, right? And so, for those of you who don't know, you know, me and Phillip are cousins, right? But we were kind of distant cousins. Like, we didn't talk that much. Like, we would say what's up at family parties and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But we weren't, like, that close. I didn't really see him since the time that those 2 weeks after you guys left.
Right.
Right? So, we're fast-forwarding, you know, 5 years later, right?
Right.
Where this is maybe like the 3rd time I see him outside of another family party. And it was crazy, man, because, you know, I had just lost maybe like 2 weeks ago at another tournament. Just lost again, right? And I was talking to Phillip about it, and I was like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, I'm getting caught with all this crazy crap, and like the stuff that I'm doing right now is just not working, bro. Like,
right.
like what do you have any advice? And he was like, dude, listen, me and my buddy Manny, we got our own school. It's a daimyo. It's an Eyrie and Shannon. Come train with us. We have an open mat. Come train with us. And I was like, well, wait a minute, like,
he's an asshole.
Well, no, not only that, but like at first I was like, well, wait, like but I belong to another school. And he's like, well, yeah, you can train at other schools, and that was a foreign concept to me, because I was never encouraged to like branch outside.
Oh, forbidden.
Essentially,
100%.
Essentially forbidden, right?
If I see you in a picture of another academies, open mat.
Yeah, no, it was super strange, but I like when he was talking to me, I'm like, so I can come over there, and he was like, dude, yeah, we have people all the time from other gyms. I go train all over town. I was like, okay, what? Okay, so this is like a new basket worth of stuff, right? And it was crazy, man, because when I was driving home that day, I didn't know you other than like those 3 words you said to me in like those 5 years, you know, just what's up,
right?
And I knew Phillip, you know what I mean, like he's my family and stuff. But the perception that I had of you at the time, it was somewhat negative, only because of what I was told, right? And I'm such a loyal person, like I never even question it. You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know what?
If this guy that I admire says this about this
that I
guy,
admire and I respect so much says this, then I'm just like, okay, then he has to be whatever it is that you're saying, right? So, but at the same time, like I said, when I was driving home, I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? Let me find out for myself. I have nothing to lose. I've been getting my ass kicked. I got nothing to lose. Let me go check it out, right? So I never forget. I go to your doors and you're smiling, bro. You know what I mean?
And then I said the same words. What's up, man?
You said the same words. You said, "What's up, man?" And I was like, "Hey, dude, how's it going?" You know, like, and Phillip was there. You know, he introduced me to you guys, and we got some rolls in. You set me up with a couple people there, and we got rolling. And yeah, we had a good talk. You know what I mean? I remember we had a really good talk about training. I kind of expressed to you the struggles that I was going through and stuff like that. You didn't say, "Oh, come here, I'll show you how to beat all that. I'll show you how to be better in this and that." It was more of like oh, dude, well, that sucks, man. Well, hey, look, you're more than welcome to come to open mats here, and I can show you some things you're getting stuck on, or we can work on some stuff together.
Right.
And the drive back home was probably like the most glass shattering moment of my like jiu-jitsu career, because I was just like, dude, this guy is so nice. You know what I mean? Just so nice, so respectable, so knowledgeable.
So like such a contradiction of
what I
the image
of what I
right, and
what the image I had in my head. Exactly, dude. Exactly. And I mean, we won't get into the details of it or whatnot, but I decided that it was better for my specific journey to come over to your guys' gym and continue my training with you guys.
Right.
And best thing that's ever happened.
Right.
Best thing that's ever happened.
Awesome.
And and it's funny, man, because that Monday or the following Monday, whatever week I started, for the first 2 weeks, every single day after class, I would call my buddy Joel on the phone, and we would talk from when I left Daimyo to all the way back home, and we would talk, and it'd be like, dude, this guy is so cool. All the people over there are just freaking savages. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I was like, basically, I was like, dude, like I'm starting over. Like, I'm completely starting over with in my belt.
Create a new path.
Yeah. And again, don't get me wrong. Like the school that I started out, they gave me like an excellent foundation.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Excellent foundation. And it was just part of my journey and my own particular way of learning that I just connected with you a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah. And I just knew for a fact after that first week that this is where I got to be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It was, as a side note, man, it was so funny. I've never told you this story, but you are so like still like caught up in that mindset of, you had left that academy. You were training with us, and I remember like one of the first classes that you came, we had visitors from like other academies, and I was
blown away.
Yeah, and it was an open mat, and I was like, that academy. There was like at least 4 different academies, like patches, on the mat, and you're like, dude, this is so crazy, man. And you were so excited, but you still weren't going to their open mats.
No, yeah.
So I remember that. Because Sunday is religiously my day off, right? I don't train Monday, man. I train Monday. I train Monday through Saturday, and Saturday I'm done. We start doing family things and stuff. But I knew I had to get you going to other open mats.
Yeah.
So for the period of time, we gave up Sundays and we started doing either open mats in our academy or going to another academy.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, I'm going, let's go.
Yeah.
And I remember you showed up to the other academy's open mat, and everybody was great, and you're like, really?
Everybody's so welcoming.
Right. And I was like, yeah, dude, let's go, get going.
Yeah.
And I would do my rolls, and then you would do rolls, and then I was like, all right, I'm done. And then once I saw you hitting up a bunch of other open mats, I was like, all right, I'm back to taking Sundays off. But I had to do that, man. It was funny to get you to like start stepping out of your comfort zone.
You got me out of that normality thinking that I was kind of in, where it wasn't right to go train at others.
Or they're going to treat me.
Or they're going to treat me as if like I'm an outsider.
Right.
Which
or you're going to go train, and then you're going to come back and I'm going to look at you sideways.
Yeah. Or I'm going to go train, and I'm going to get my ass kicked, and everybody's going to kind of like, it, you know what I mean, or whatever. Right. But the crazy thing is, for the first couple of months, I don't even think I really thought about any open mats during that time, because I was just so wowed by the amount of different technique that I was absorbing from all of your classes. You know what I mean? So I remember for maybe the first 8 months ish, like I was just absorbing as much as I could from it, just as much as I possibly could. And I've been with you guys for 2 years.
2 years, yeah,
a little bit more.
Yeah, and then pretty much soon after you came over, it was within a few months that we had our yearly trip to California.
Yeah.
And I was like, make sure you're in this.
Yeah.
Make sure you're able to go.
Yeah.
And we went over there, and I remember it was funny because a few years prior, Phillip and I had done our first pilgrimage to Ventura to train with Frangina.
Yeah.
And he was like, it was exactly that, man. It was like all this other black belts from other academies, or go visit different academies. And I remember going to like their noon class in Santa Barbara, and there was like 20 black belts.
Jesus.
And they're just all monsters, just but phenomenal training, great human beings. You're training hard, you're partying hard, you're eating and hanging out and exchanging ideas.
Living the life.
Living the life. You know, one of the times we got to roll with the black belt from Atos.
Nice.
You know, and but I remember like Phillip's and I reaction to that glass shattered moment of like, man, this is what we need to be doing, and this is life. This is what it should be like. You know, this is what, if I had a vision for what jiu-jitsu should be like in Tucson, it became even clearer and more understandable, more discernible for me, for myself. Mm-hmm. So it kind of like even gave me even more passion, more strength to come back and say, okay, I'm going to do this for my academy, but I'm going to do this for the community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you did your first pilgrimage over there, I remember I remember watching you, and then like I would be like, Phillip, you know, like, watch Freddy, you know, and they were just like having this moments, you know, like rolling with this guy and rolling with this other guy, and everybody's
and they were so nice.
They were so nice, but they were so good, and it was like same thing. It was like, okay, rest up because we're doing this at 6 p.m. tonight, and then you get there and there's like all this other academies or skill levels showing up, you know, and everybody's teaching each other, you know, and it's so cool, man. But that's how it should be, man. But it was so funny to watch and just be like, if Phillip and I or Brenda and I were constantly like, watch Freddy. You know? We were so excited.
I was just wild, man. I was wild. Well, you know what's crazy too is I think maybe after my first or second week of training over there, Phillip sent me the Frangina documentary that it was like 42 minutes long about his journey in jiu-jitsu, how he came down from Brazil and how he started teaching and then during that documentary it films like their students and how their students are just like, you know, you walk in and you're just so welcoming and people come from other gyms and we all cross train together and we all just try to make each other better and it was just beautiful, man. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things where you're just like, why haven't I had like this mindset kind of the entire time? Because in my mindset it was just like, okay, this is my group right here, and then it's us against this group over here, and then us against this group over here. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't really like, well, let me go over here and show them what I know and learn what they know.
Right.
So we can all be better together. It was more of just like, I wanted to beat you guys because my skill level is better. Right.
And that's an archaic mindset that I think it's a result of jiu-jitsu being so new, right? So people need to understand also like the area that where jiu-jitsu comes from, right? So for example, the idea that you don't cross-train with academies, it comes from the era in Brazil where, for example, there's no YouTube. Not only is there no YouTube, there's no instructionals, and there's no books.
Yeah.
And jiu-jitsu is literally being born every day in academies, right? So for example, you have somebody like De La Riva that is part of Carlson Gracie. He created this guard out of being the smallest team member in Carlson Gracie. And nobody else in the entire world is doing this but him. So he's developing this. He's teaching it. He's teaching it to his guys in Carlson Gracie. De La Riva did an interview where he talks about going to a tournament, fighting, and looking over, and literally like at least 10 or 12 people in this audience have those old school giant. So it's not even like you're trying to be like, it's not even like you're being discreet, like, hey dude, that's a really sick technique.
With your phone,
It was people are recording this with giant cameras, because they're gonna try to figure out what you're doing, do it themselves, but also try to figure out how to beat it, right? And that was the environment back then. It was like, why would we cross here and show you what I'm doing when it's literally being born right now? Jiu-jitsu is still being born every single day. There's still little things where you're like, oh shit, I think I invented a move.
Yeah, it's still super new.
But that happens not. I don't think that's the boom of jiu-jitsu. It's not happening as much anymore. Now it's more about training methodology.
Yeah.
What are you doing outside? Are you, how are you repping? How are you drilling? How are you conditioning?
The minor details.
The minor details.
Right.
I guarantee you, everybody knows Del Hiva and Leg Lasso.
Oh yeah,
100%, right?
Yeah.
So the era of like hiding our secrets, like I don't want you to know Leg Lasso, dude. I know the Leg Lasso. Trust me. You know what I mean?
But you know, at the same time, like respectfully, the YouTube back, what, 5 years ago?
It wasn't
even close to what it is right now. It was literally like a couple highlights of Andre Galval or him like doing like his little warm up drill. Or it was like some kind of BS stuff that was on there that just like, well, wait a second.
Yeah, like I don't think that's right.
I'm not really sure about that.
But it's evolved too, right?
So it's a tool now.
Yeah, where it's so much information on YouTube. Like for example, one of the biggest things is I have a white belt that it was so funny, man. This white belt brand new student texts me, and he asked me what YouTube channels should I be watching.
Oh, that's dope.
You know what I mean?
Dope, man. Yeah.
And I was like, you should be watching these 3 channels. They're legitimate. The guy has legitimate guests. The technique doesn't get too complicated, and this is what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, but then it was like, then I was like, then it was like back up to the days of when YouTube came out, and even to the day that I left the old academy was like, you fuckers better not be watching YouTube.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because it was kind of BS at that time.
It was kind of BS, but at the same time, it was like, why wouldn't we just be seeking out information?
Or try it.
Or try it, see what else is there.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's like YouTube is like legitimate content for the most part.
Bro, that's so funny you say that, man, because it was you that pointed out. He's like, when you told me, and then like a lot of this is like within my first month.
I told you, this is who you should be watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or no, you said, who are you studying? And I was like, well, what do you mean?
Huh?
What was it, coach?
Yeah.
Are you studying who? Wait, who are you studying? I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you should be studying people on YouTube. I'm like, well, what do you, really? Like, you want me to go on YouTube and search for jiu-jitsu and then watch it over and over and do what I saw over there, over here? Yes. Why the fuck haven't you been doing that before? Yeah. And then from that moment on, you did give me a couple ideas, and then from there, I mean, I just took it and ran with it, man. I mean, I just, Andre Galval, I studied him from the very beginning, regardless of YouTube or not. I was just trying to look him up as much as possible, but then it grew from that to Kyle Terra, Bruno Malfacine, and my body type and my style. I'm like, I want to emulate what they're doing. You know what I mean?
There's fighters that speak to you. Like there's there's guys that are
your styles,
your mindset, your physical abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a coach, you should be studying everybody because it's your duty to. It's not my duty to get good at inverted this and that, but it's my job to know it, understand it, and at least be able to introduce it to you, because you have that body style. And when I say you, is like all you students of the game that are that body style. It's not fair that I only study Cyborg, for example.
Right. Because that's your body style.
Because that's my body style. And if you go in there at your weight division to fight like Cyborg, you're gonna get fucked up. Mm-hmm. Because everybody's gonna be like, dude, we're not wrestling. I'm pulling guard and going inverted.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm gonna
go like, right over here. We should be wrestling
1,000 miles an hour all over you, and you're not gonna keep up with me.
So it's at least and this. So then it goes back to loyalty, right? Loyalty goes both ways. The loyalty of the student to appreciate what the instructor does for them, because as trust me, as instructors, man, our dining table a lot of times it's a debrief of how was your class, how did this guy do, and we like exchanging notes as husband, wife, and kids, because our kids coach so much too. Yeah. That if students only knew how much of our personal life involves developing the student, right? Yeah. But then flip it the other way is the teacher has the duty to the student to continue to get better and to continue to gain knowledge. To not say, all right, I'm a black belt, I've done it all. It's you need to continue to get better. You need to continue to seek out knowledge. What's trending? How are people fighting right now? And it literally changes from every 2 years. At least in PANS you see it, where everybody's doing this. 2 years from now, everybody's doing this. And if you're not following those trends, if you're not watching minor tournaments leading up to big tournaments, you're gonna miss that trend of everybody's feeling this lapel now. Perfect example, Andre Galval. Pants last year, he went to the finals feeding that lapel.
Yeah.
But you can see
so
all
crazy.
of his guys. But you can see all of his guys in minor. When I say minors, you're talking about like nationals, or the LA Pro, or or the Seattle Open, or whatever, the New York Open. You can see those guys starting to do that in those tournaments. So if you're not catching that wave, you're not studying as an instructor. You show up to Pants playing the La Jiva, and they're gonna feed that lapel.
Yeah.
You're gonna get fucked up.
Exactly.
So it's so much work, man. But that's true loyalty right there, and it goes both ways. And just like in marriage, if one of those it's not reciprocating that loyalty, then there's definitely it's not to say that you immediately like, oh, we're getting a divorce, I'm leaving, but there's definitely room to question. It's like, hey, why are we not doing this?
Right.
We shouldn't be mocking this technique because it's not macho, it's not tough, or it's bitch jiu-jitsu. It's catching us. We should be learning it.
And so the best reference I can think of is, and this is what I tell people, I said jiu-jitsu is like technology, right? If you're not keeping up with technology, you're getting left behind. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like go ahead and go watch your VHS, you know what I mean, while your VCR still blinks 12, and I'm gonna be on Netflix.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like you're right, man. It's constantly growing, and I think that's probably one of the most admirable, can't even say that word, thing about
Spell
you. Abiral.
You know what I mean. You know what
I'm talking about. So, but I think that's one of like your best qualities that's really like kind of that just kept me in the loop with you, is the fact that I can see that about you. It's not the fact that you're a black belt and the stuff that got you to a black belt is not going to be the same stuff that's going to get me to a black belt or a successful black belt competitor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So the fact that you're constantly evolving, constantly growing, constantly keeping up with this and that, and constantly encouraging everybody to go branch out and learn new stuff and come back and show you.
Right.
I mean, how many times do I say, dude, check this out, I just fucking learned this over here.
Right.
And then you're like, well, wait. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Do one more.
I like that.
One
Yeah.
more.
It's
like, and even if it won't work for you, because like I said, like your body style, 200 pounds, 155. You know what I'm saying? Like what you do and what I do.
200 pounds.
180? What, dude?
Oh, you know what? Let's move on.
It's ish. 200-ish.
Thanks,
right?
man. Right on.
Yeah, you got you, man. You've been slimming down. So, I mean, the fact that you're even willing to try to understand a small man's game.
Right.
Just to be able to explain it to the next student that's my size.
Right.
Is one of the best qualities. Because you're right, man. Like, it goes both ways. The student has to have respect. The student has to have respect for the instructor. The instructor has to have respect for the student in the sense that that this person is a serious competitor and he's not out there dicking around and learning shit that probably won't work, but you're still willing to sit there and say, okay, show me that again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, it's so
because if I lose respect
yeah.
for the instructor, it's
over.
It's over.
It's over.
It's
over. But that's I think that we're describing two very key things that I've always said that jiu-jitsu mirrors life, right? And through jiu-jitsu, we could learn to look at life in a better way that moves us forward as humanity.
Yeah.
And I think we've described two very important things, man. Number one was the fact that you were able to look past a certain reputation created, deservingly or underservingly for circumstances, and you're like, all right, let me give this guy a shot.
Yeah.
And form my own opinion.
Right.
And then outside of that is now we're talking about what truly moves us forward is depending on one another to keep getting better in many different things.
Right.
You know? But dude, that's so awesome, man. But dude, so we're gonna get our first. I've never thought I would have like a BFF tattoo, but we're doing this.
Yeah, man.
We're fucking doing this. We're doing this.
Yes.
So, so your next venture, man. So you're kicking butt in jiu-jitsu right now. You found your rhythm. You're about to be a brown belt, and that's gonna open up a whole set of new challenges, and both of us are very excited. But you have this other passion. You're very technology driven, and you're creating this video so that if you guys watch We have some videos that Fred created for The Last Warrior Standing. Gracie Baja is doing he's using some of your videos. And they're phenomenal quality to the point that it's like, dude, we're paying this other company to do this, but you know, you're doing it 20 times better. You know? And you're local, and you're here, and you're always at our open mats. Let's do business together. You know? So you're doing something for Sharks next. But so you're talk to us about your project, man.
Yeah, man. So it's really cool. So I got into filmography, I guess you could say. I literally just bought like a little GoPro. Right, and because me and Vanessa
on that stick, right?
On the stick. No, first without the stick. I just bought the little GoPro. No, I didn't even buy it. I'm sorry. Vanessa won it. She stole it.
Okay.
So
and
Vanessa,
it just cuts right up.
No, she did buy it. She bought it for like $50. This Vanessa's a nurse. One of her nurse's friend won it in an auction. She's an older lady. She's like, I have no use for this. She's like, do you want it? Vanessa was like,
she's like the old lady. What the fuck is?
Yeah, she had this little HD camera. You know what I mean? But Vanessa was like, hey, you know, we're going on vacation. We were gonna go to Cancun at the time. We can use it and we can film our little trip and stuff like that. And she bought it for like $50, $60, something like that. And she bought it to me, and I was like, dang, this is cool. You know, I started playing with it a little bit at the house, and I uploaded it on my computer, and I'm like, the camera quality is great. Like, dang, this is kind of fun.
And the audio too, right?
And the audio was really cool.
And it's from this little thing,
This
man.
little thing,
That's
dude.
so
This little GoPro crap, right? But, so anyway, you know, we took it on vacation, and I made this pretty cool little vacation video of just, you know, because I wanted to create something that her and I could have forever to remind us of these moments besides our members. You know what I mean? Right. And so when I created that video, I was like, man, this was actually kind of cool. This was pretty good. And then the feedback that I got from my family at the time, they were like, dude, like, this is pretty cool. So then I remember talking to Yeshua, and I showed him the video, and he was like, dang, this is cool. He's like, you need to get a stabilizer though. I was like, what's that? Yeah. And he was like, well, you know, when you're walking and it's kind of shaking, he's like, it'll stop that. And I was like, oh, all right. So, you know, I jump on Amazon, and I get that little circle thing, that little Q thing or whatever, and I hook it up, and I'm like, dang, this is it's just fun to hold. You know what I mean? Almost makes you feel a little important. And then on the
Excuse
top,
me, I'm the guy with the stick.
Yeah, but ciao.
Yeah.
No, but then and dude, I'm fascinated by like anything electronic, and especially if it has lights on it, or I can hook up to my computer. You know what I'm saying?
You mean like the little shoes with the light on the side, where you're like,
I had those. So anyway, man. And so I figured out. I was like, well, I wonder if I could hook my phone up to it, because it didn't have a screen. You kind of had to guesstimate like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I remember being able to download an app, and I connected to my phone, and then it was live. You know what I mean? It was live. It was live.
It was live. Dude, remember being at the tournament when you had it in the stick, and then you like put it up to my face?
Yeah, dude.
I was like, get the fucking thing out of my face.
So it was cool, man. Like, it was really fascinating that I can live stream what I was doing on this thing onto my phone and be able to view it, and then you could hit the record button and zoom in and out and stuff like that. It was fascinating, right?
Yeah.
And then Phillip's gym opens up, and I was like, dang, he's just getting started. Like,
let's document
it. You know what I mean? Let's help you advertise it. He got me into jiu-jitsu. What can I do to help you out? You know what I'm saying? So, and it was just fun. I think it was an open mat too. We went in there, and you know, I started filming, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just filmed a bunch of crap, and then later on I threw it on my computer, and then I spent probably like 3 hours just kind of trimming it, and then all of a sudden I made a 1-minute video, and I showed it to Vanessa, and she was like, dude, this is cool, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, damn, this is pretty cool. So I posted it. You know what I mean? And again, the feedback I got from it was just so positive, you know? And from that point, I was like, well, dang, let me try another one. I did one at Sharks, and that turned out really well. And then at some point, I came up to you, and I was like, hey, man, I want to do a little documentary thing like the Frangina one that you guys sent me, and I want to do it about you and Phillip and the 2 gyms and what Paragon, Arizona is. I mean, just the fact that it had such a huge impact on my life. I wanted to show people what you guys were doing and what jiu-jitsu actually means to us, I guess you could say. Right? And then that documentary thing turned out awesome.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I realized that a couple weeks before I actually decided to do the documentary, I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna continue to do these little films I better get some sort of editing software, right? Because I was just kind of editing on this free thing, and it was super cool, but it was basic.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? Let's just go for it. So I bought this lifetime prescription of this editing thing, and that's when I decided to do the documentary. And I uploaded it onto there, and I realized I can like snip out the audio from here as you're talking, and then have like cool scenes playing, and then put that audio in as you're talking, and then come back to you and match it up, and then it just came out super clean. And at that point, I was like, dude, this is so much fun, so much fun. Like I didn't even think about like money at the time. I was just like, this is so much fun. And then the feedback that you guys were giving me, and that the new people were coming in and telling me, they're like, oh, I saw this video online about it, and they came down, and that, and then that led to kind of where I'm at right now. I think I made maybe like 10 videos, something like that.
So it's taking off when you're having legitimate companies right now asking you. It's like, and athletes, right? So
yeah. So the one that's really taken off was The Last Warrior Standing.
Right.
That one, I invested more money into a better stabilizer, and then I realized, I'm like, well, okay, instead of using this little HD camera now, my phone is like basically 4K. Let me see what I can do with that. And because I know jiu-jitsu and the angles,
you know what you're looking for.
You know what you're looking for, right? And you know what's kind of exciting. So I made The Last Warrior Standing with just my phone and the gimbal, and that came out super freaking clean. I ran into Enrique from Gracie Baja on Broadway over there, and I was like, hey man, would you mind if I kind of went over there and did a little film for your school? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, come do it. So, and this was the most recent one. I did that, and that one is probably my favorite one so far. And that one has over 7,000 views.
That is so crazy.
Crazy, man.
That is
yeah.
so crazy. So one thing that I love about this story, man, is a couple of things. But the most important thing is like, and it goes back to like Joshua, how he's done his photography and stuff, is that the fact that there's no formal training, and the fact that there's no formal training, but there's the drive and the passion and the willingness to learn how to do it and how to do it better. But there's also not the fear of starting. Like, I don't have to be really good to start. I just have to have a passion for it, and it'll show in the product. It'll show the effort. I'll continue to get better, but you don't need to be, you don't need to be. You don't need to be George Lucas to start this. You could just be the guy.
Right.
But also the fact that we're cutting off the barriers of, I want to create a video for your company.
Yeah.
Did you go to the Academy of Arts in New York?
Right.
Do you
have a degree?
Do you have a degree? Yeah. Now it's the knowledge is out there. This is why I love the internet so much, man. It's like the knowledge is out there.
Yeah.
There's people that are willing to share their knowledge with you.
Yeah.
Through various forms, whether it's YouTube, whether it's an article, whether it's a blog. People are telling you, check this out, I'm doing it. Let me show you how you do it. You know, and then it goes back to jiu-jitsu. Competition is good. I want you to get better, so it forces me to get better.
Yeah,
you know, and it's but it's phenomenal. But it goes back to, like, so you and I were talking a couple of days ago. We're talking about the mindset of, because I think you and I were just text messages, and you're like, dude, another offer, another company, another athlete, another this, another that, and then just opportunities kept appearing, and then I just messaged you this, and it was like, dude, burn the boats. Yeah, man. Right? Burn the boats, bro. Burn the boats. Pursue with passion. Burn the boats.
Yeah.
And
don't look back and go forward.
Don't look back, man. The burn the boats it's a mindset, and this is something that used to be done in the military in the age of boats, and
it was 1592 when that bro said they arrived on the island, and he was like, burn the boats,
and they're like, why? So there's no retreat. And it changed the way people fought.
Change your mindset.
Well, if retreat is always
an option,
it'll remain a viable option. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
When you're making people fight for their life, they'll fight like their life depends on it.
There's no going back.
There's no going back.
Yeah.
So when captains started arriving in this forts for battles, that's one of the first things they did. They were like, burn the boat. Yeah, we're not leaving. We're either dying on the battlefield or we're winning.
Right, exactly, dude. And so that statement right there is so powerful, man. And I think you said this a while ago too. I think maybe in one of my like last like super fights or 2 super fights ago.
Right.
Whenever it was, it just resonated in my head, dude. And but here's the thing though, like when I was doing this, for fun. I had nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Like I don't care if you didn't like my video. It was like, kind of, it was so quality and whatnot, but it was just very
doing it for fun.
I'm doing it for fun, right? And then it wasn't up until when you said, hey, I want you to do the last warrior standing, and that is when I turned my mindset on to where I was like, if I'm gonna continue to do this, I gotta burn the boats, right? Because it's scary, dude. It's scary to create content and put it out there for everybody to watch. It's just like in super matches or tournaments, whatever it is. I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And there's all kinds of stuff that goes through your head. Just like in a tournament, is he gonna tap me out in 3 seconds? Am I gonna make it past the first round? Am I gonna get hurt? Is this gonna happen? All my family are watching. Is everybody gonna judge me? This and that. It's the same thing with the videos. Is it gonna be good enough quality? Like, is everybody gonna like it? Is everybody has so much faith in me? Why don't I have that much faith in myself? You know what I mean? So it was one of those things where I just have to go for it. You know what I mean? And then then the fact to try to turn it into a business is where the burn the boats thing come from.
Right.
You
have to go for it.
Yeah. And the Last Warrior Standing and the Gracie Baja film just boosted my confidence up to the roof. And yeah, man. He's already invited me back for the Oro Valley grand opening to do a video. Next week I'm gonna be doing Saurita, and then Gabe at Sharks. He was like, bro, we have some athletes here who want their own individual channels, yeah. and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, maybe I could make some money off of this.
100%.
5 years later, could this be my career? I don't know. I have no idea.
Could be.
But
the thing is, like, it's
all I know is I enjoy it right now.
Yeah, the thing is, you have to have the balls to pursue it with that kind of passion, with saying burn the boats, right? Because so many people, it's businesses. It's scary, man. Having left the department, starting the Last Warrior Standing, and like a bunch of other projects that we're doing. It's a business. It's scary, man. It's there's so much that you have to learn. There's so much. Knowing how to manage, not only the financial, but knowing how to manage people, knowing how to bring resources together and stuff like that.
Right.
But if you're not willing to learn from others, and you're not willing to also have failure, in the sense that have failure teach you. Yeah. You're gonna be that guy in your deathbed. So
yeah. I mean, if jiu-jitsu's taught me anything, it's you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. Right. But I've failed so much. I already know what it's like to be down here. I've climbed myself back up here 3, 4, 5 times. I can do it again. Do it again. No problem. I get knocked off. Okay. 100%. I've climbed up. I'll do it again.
Right. So what's the name of your company, man?
So it's so my Instagram name is now BTB_media, and it stands for Burn the Boats Media.
Very nice.
Do you know what I mean?
Love it, man.
It was.
So do you have a Facebook page or just the Instagram?
Just the Instagram right now. Okay. I'm going to, and it's not different from my personal Instagram. I really wanted to leave it all the same, only because, if I send it out or whatever, I want people to be able to go ahead and look on there and see what I do, see the videos I have, see the passion that I have for everything, and just know that it's just the man behind the camera, and I'm not here to create a specific content. I'm here to bring your vision into like a 1 minute clip.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Let you shine.
Let you shine through my creativity.
Right. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Yeah. So if anybody's interested in like hiring you for videos, they should just go through Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. Go through Instagram. Like I said, it's at BTB_media. Just DM me, and then we'll work something out. And I won't let you down. I mean, man,
it's been phenomenal, man. Yeah. Well, dude, thank you, sir.
Yes,
it's been so awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. We gotta do this again.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you. So, what's the birth of the big, bro?
What's the recording sound?
Oh, so
let's do it next for fucking.
Yeah. So when I was living with my buddies, and so we were drunk. We were playing pool. Yeah. We were playing pool, and my buddy Hoyt is really good at pool, right? and he I think he beat me like 8 games, right? And there was just one game when I was somewhat winning, and then he likes to talk a lot of shit so he can get in my head so I can mess up. Yeah. And I was like, bro, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna bink it into that hole, and I'm gonna bink into that hole, and then I'm gonna bink into this hole, and then I'm gonna go bink, just like that. That was it. That's how I got started. Oh my God, and then since then, he said it. Our other roommate said it, and then every time we get excited and drunk, we yell it, and it's so much fun. Bink.